Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Tomorrow's Best Practices Today podcast. I'm Clark Newby, and today we have got a guy that's seen things, man. We've got a great veteran of the sales and marketing landscape in B2B and high tech. Clint Oram is joining us. Clint was a co-founder, I guess, and chief strategy officer at SugarCRM. Yep, that's SugarCRM. During his time there, he was the CMO, he was the CTO, he ran business dev. If Clint had only done that in his professional career, he would be hanging big numbers on the scoreboard. But like so many of us in the more recent past here, he's turning his attention to the world of AI, how it applies to sales and marketing. He is a founding advisor at ASPR AI. He's an advisor at Ziply AI. And he is the host of my new second favorite podcast, the Prompt This podcast. So I want to welcome Clint Oram to our podcast. Hi, Clint.
Hey there, Clark. Thanks for having me here today. Very much appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's great. It's great to have you. And like I said, if you'd only given the world SugarCRM, you could be resting on your laurels today. So I'm really interested in what that background, what that experience has given you. I'm sure you've got some pretty specific and educated takes on how AI is unfolding for our listeners and watchers today. So I guess let's just start there. Let's just start with AI. It's the topic.
It is the topic
of the time.
Yeah.
From the vector that you've been on for the last several years, what are you seeing? What's your take? How do you think about the AI landscape as it pertains to the sales and marketing profession?
Oh man, Clark, it's just changing. It's changing so fast. Everything you learned 3 months ago is pretty much out of date. That's actually why I started my own podcast, is I wanted to go deep into AI and really understand what was happening with generative AI. My kind of background was more in the predictive analytics space, kind of first generation AI, if you will. And I wanted to get deep into it. And so I just started interviewing everybody I knew. And along the way, teamed up with a buddy of mine from college who was interested in the same topics. And we said, hey, let's actually turn this into a podcast. So we're just out there getting smart on the topic. We're not trying to position ourselves as the geniuses of AI by any stretch at all, because it's kind of hard to be frank, right? The one thing I've seen over those last 6 months of talking to people is it's like a new tool every single time you talk to somebody, and each one is amazing, but each one has limitations, and so there's a lot going on out there, and I think that's just kind of my overall take.
Each, like you say, it's constantly changing. Each change, ricochets off all the other changes, right? There's clearly no real conclusions. You're kind of drawing, I find myself trying to draw these kind of micro conclusions along the way,
right?
While realizing like the whole ground is shifting while I'm coming to those conclusions. But the thing that I like from the conversations we've had on the topic, there is a lot of fear associated with it. There's concern. What's going to happen on the job front? Mentioned generative AI. What are the creatives going to do? Anything that can, we've got robotic SDRs now. But you're an optimist. You see this as, particularly for smaller companies, a big superpower. So share your thoughts there, please.
Yeah, well, certainly one of my mottos in life is happiness is a choice. And so given today's social and economic and political dynamics, I feel like I'm holding on to that one as hard as I possibly can at the moment.
We are not making it easy on you.
Exactly. But, I look around at what's going on and I think to myself, the AI is doubling the productivity of your average white collar worker, or at least making you more of a journeyman generalist across a variety of topics. But I still think that expertise, that specialty. I use AI tools all the time for everything I'm doing, from advising other companies to the podcast and blog articles I'm writing. Use it all the time. And I'm certainly able to do more varied things than I was able to do before. But when it comes down to being an expert at a topic, I kind of, I use AI for a little bit of brainstorming, but then I got to set it aside and really put my skills to work. And I think that's true for a lot of people out there. So I think you're going to see a lot more I think of things like agencies that do artwork. I don't need to go to agencies that do creative artwork anymore. At least I think I don't. I'll sit down with ChatGPT. I'll create something that looks awesome, like 80% of the way there on the first try. Then I'll spend 5 hours trying to make it. I said, move the text 3 pixels to the right. God, I hate this thing. So it's AI is a bit of that space of simplifying the complicated, but complicating the simple.
Oh, I like that.
Right. And so I think in there's absolute space for experts in their fields and that sort of thing. So, and then, I also think that the job topic for me is a bit of a red herring topic right now to a certain degree. It's so right now, my son just just graduated from college in May. Been out there looking for a job, wants to get into tech, wants to get that SDR job in tech. And it's tough. It's a tough market out there. It's a really tough market. So he ended up going a different path and got an entry-level sales position in another industry with the hope of getting into tech. But I think we're all feeling this kind of freeze in the tech software world, and everybody's pointing to AI, right? Everybody's saying that's the outcome of unregulated AI technology stealing our jobs. And I got kind of a different point of view on it, to be honest. So I'm been leadership teams of the company SugarCRM for 20 years. I remember the executive team sitting together back in 2022 saying it's hard to hire guys. It's a boom time right now. It's hard to find talent.
It's a seller's market.
Yeah, go back a couple of years and what was happening. So what was happening was there's kind of a false bubble in software created by the pandemic, right? Everybody's working at home. Everybody needs tools to work from home. So people who may not have really leaned on technology that much, we're now leading to lean on technology because of the work from home mandates. And, you saw companies like Zoom just go boom, skyrocket.
Yeah.
And what happened in there was a ton of stimulus money went into the market at the same time. So all these companies that were getting their PPE loans or grants or whatever you want to call them back in 22, 23, were putting it all into technology. And we got a huge tailwind behind us in the software space, a bubble, if you will, of fake money, equipping people to work from home that kind of dried up. Right, both the intense demand for working from home certainly pulled back, and then that PPE money went away, and then but during that time, when money was flowing and companies were logging these 50% growth rates, they started hiring. Right, it was a huge hiring bubble out there. And so here we are now, a couple of years later, the market's resetting around us, and companies are having to let go of that talent, that extra talent that they were hiring during the boom times, because things are a little bit, certainly a lot slower at the moment. So that's kind of but in there, that's not really an AI story, right? That's just a standard Silicon Valley boom bust story, right?
But it is a great excuse, right?
Oh, it's a great
excuse for these management teams. They're like, it's not us, it's them. It's this technology.
Makes you sound smart,
could be expected?
Right? Oh, we're deploying AI right now. Mark Benioff with and then just kind of the mixed messages that come with it, right? He's out there telling the world that AI won't steal the white collar jobs and don't worry about it. And then 2 months later, he's laying off 4,000 people because of AI. And so it just gets kind of confusing to everybody. But I think the real backdrop in there is software companies. The overall market has softened as we go through the kind of the global economic issues that we have right now. Companies have had to dial back their spend, and the obvious place was where they overhired back in 2022, 2023.
Yeah, I love that. I love that take. Well, a little bit of the old Sugar v. Salesforce glint was showing there. So I've got you here.
Was I throwing darts at somebody? No, no, I wouldn't do that.
I want to tap some of that Sugar CRM wisdom as well, because we're talking about the two big, I don't know, the rock'em sock'em punches that we seem to be living through right now is AI and how we're going to digest it, how we're going to apply it. And then you made mention of the social media landscape, the impact that social channels are having on our personal, but certainly our professional lives. And one of the things we're seeing much more, and I'm watching my LinkedIn channels turn into this weird mishmash of like everybody pitching me all the time and everybody sharing a touching personal story. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about where you see social selling these days.
I'm right in there with it. Really should be. I'm stirring it up as much as anybody else. It is definitely proving to be a very effective channel for connecting with an audience, building an audience. But, let's take a step back. So 10 years ago, the hot topic, maybe it's more like 12, 13 years ago, the hot topic out there was social CRM. Social CRM is going to change the world. Social CRM is about putting the power of buying in the hands of the buyers, and they can hold companies accountable in a very transparent way. And to be honest, I was never really that much of a social CRM fan. That was kind of, little glimpse into a strategy guy at a CRM company. My point of view was, it's there. It's not the thing that everybody was claiming it to be. And what came out of that was LinkedIn Sales Navigator, right? And turning LinkedIn to a spam cannon. Have you looked at your InMail lately? It's absolutely useless. I can't find anything like when I do get that one little nugget, like one of 100 messages is somebody actually really reaching out to me that I want to connect with. One of the very first things I have to say back is, sorry, I didn't reply back for the last 2 months. I didn't see your note.
Right. Well, it's become the modern equivalent of the phone that used to sit on your desk at work. We're old enough to remember. It's like, I'm not answering that thing.
Yeah, exactly. And it'd ring, and you go, I'm not touching
out of that thing. Or somebody wanting something, right? It's like, they're going to find me. They're going to have a connection to me if we should be talking about something. And all this, I think you're right. It's just turned into another spam cannon. And in working with my clients, it's the same thing. They want to come up with these messages. I'm like, when was the last time you opened one of those, from an unknown source? You're just not going to do it. But anyway, sorry, you picked a scab on me. But yes, so social selling, social certainly in the mix as part of the landscape, but didn't over rotate to it.
Well, let's unpack it a little bit, because there's some really fascinating dynamics taking place underneath the covers that I think is going to completely reinvigorate the concept of social selling, but change it at the same time, right? So let's just kind of first talk a little bit for a moment about your typical salesperson, right? And where do they spend their day? And now I've got a whole career of building sales tools for sales reps and for sales managers, and I've just been steeped in this topic for my entire career. And what you always kind of witness is this dynamic of salespeople wanting to spend their time on nurturing deals and closing deals. And they don't really spend a lot of time on top of funnel, filling the funnel, right? Going out and doing prospecting. It's tough, it's hard, it's uncomfortable. The demands of closing a deal, it's marketing's job. Every reason out there of why, kind of the Glenn Glary, Glenn Ross, where's the leads? Marketing's sending all the good leads to other people. It's just a whole meme in the world of sales. But sales managers are saying, no, you need to be spending time filling your funnel. You need to be spending half your time prospecting. You need to be spending time kind of on both sides of the coin, if you will. Mm-hmm. And a lot of sales managers are buying these LinkedIn Sales Navigator subscriptions for their sales reps, telling them to do prospecting. And prospecting just turned into cold emails through a different channel that people were ignoring. And I can automate it. Woohoo! So I'll go out and fire off, 100 in-mails a day, and look for those kind of standard cold calling metrics. If I can get a 1% conversion rate, it's great. And that's kind of what's been going on for the last few years.
Like marketing can get you N% of the funnel. You got to go get it yourself. You've got these platforms now. It's not just the old cold call in on the phone. Get out there and use them, man. And it's obviously so focused on the bottom. We talk about the whole funnel and getting things into the funnel, but it's really about that bottom half of the funnel. Like get the sales guys productive. Done right. I love your insight. With the world that we're in now with the LLMs, it's sort of the old joke about brand spending, all that. I'm wasting half of it. I wish I knew which half. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
But to put to put your whole army of people doing a little bit of branding all the time versus trying to figure out, what great campaign, what great imagery, what great theme is going to happen. That's how the LLMs are taking this stuff in. So I just love that insight. I love that you've been able to string
changes the value equation for sellers. Suddenly, when I'm going out and hiring and I'm looking at somebody who's got, the standard B2B seller who's been doing this for a while should have 5,000 or so followers on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But what about that person who shows up with 50,000 followers? Huh.
Yeah.
That's an interesting hire for the company, because not only is this somebody who knows how to build audience, but it's an audience that I can tap into, and I can go drive visibility of my brand on a much wider platform than hiring that 5,000 follower person.
Well, let's talk about that. So in a world where you want everybody in your company as a foot soldier, and certainly your sellers and your marketers in this social army, what are on the other side? How should folks like your son, folks making their way through the various stages of their careers, think about how they can future-proof their career path, what they should be bringing forward in their LinkedIn, their resumes, what they should, the muscle groups that they should be building to be part of that new approach?
I think the most important thing is a pretty straightforward idea, which is to name your favorite LLM. Is it ChatGPT? Is it Gemini? Is it Copilot? By the way, my co-host on Prompt This podcast, Greg, he's a Copilot guy and I'm a ChatGPT guy. And I've got some serious FOMO on Copilot. I hate giving, I'm an open source background person, so never like to give Microsoft kudos, but they deserve props on what they're doing with Copilot in the whole Windows experience. Like they're setting the path going forward. And so he's using Copilot, I'm using ChatGPT, and we're brainstorming ideas constantly on things that we should be talking about, that we should be writing about, that we should be engaging about. It's this constant foil. It's this strategy assistant. It's somebody to just give me ideas to create content around. And so that's my number one recommendation. So I sat my son down when he graduated from college and said, we're going to turn you into a ChatGPT expert. And it's funny, I ran into all this friction with him because in the academic environment,
that's for writing papers. Dave.
That's right. ChatGPT is cheating. But it's just immersed into my kids' heads that ChatGPT is cheating and they don't want to touch it. Other than when they got to get that one paper done by tomorrow. And my son did make a comment about, that poetry class I took my last semester, I only got a B+. I'm like, no, I think you meant to say ChatGPT only got a B+. But anyways, that joke aside, very true joke aside, he was very much stuck in this headspace of it's cheating. I was like, buddy, you got to catch up to the rest of the world. Every one of your competitors, every one of those people that are looking for the same jobs that they're embracing it. And so we did this whole 1 month deep dive ChatGPT session of turning it into a career coach for him, a recruiter. And so it's a whole fun blog article that I'm writing up right now that I'll be publishing on our Prompt This website here shortly about how to use ChatGPT as your own personal recruiter. But what it did is it got him thinking about something that's very important to him, his career and how to get it kickstarted. And he was going back and forth on different ideas and how should I approach this and how should I approach that? And what about this industry and what about that industry? So I think that's your answer. I think that's the starting place for everybody is to go embrace it as your recruitment tool, as something that complements Indeed.com and all of the other sites out there and gives you some focus and direction. And that is the starting point for learning how to apply it in other places in your professional career.
Well, I love too that point. So I think recruit your own recruiting effort or your own job seeking efforts. But to your point, something that's important to you, right? Mm-hmm. Something that helps you get the concerns out of the way, and you can kind of get to this mindset of, wow, what if I had a couple of buddies that were really good at this or knew a lot about this or could do this for me? Like I knew what I'd like to do. What if I could concentrate on the next thing versus getting this done in a hobby or an interest or mm-hmm. in a professional context. I tell you, folks, look, you get industry insights here. You get, job search hints. You get parenting tips. We got it all here.
But you do need to look at it without putting on the rose-colored glasses. You got to be a little bit skeptical, a little bit pragmatic. You got to go in there and make sure that what comes back to you makes sense. And here's another piece of advice that I heard from somebody I recently interviewed for my podcast was dig into a topic that where you know the answers. Right. And get a feel for how accurate the answers that you're getting back from the LLM.
What the edges kind of. What the edges
and just kind of get it. And so dig into a topic that you already know.
Yeah. And
then start using this and figure out how to get answers that are more accurate and make more sense, because it's absolutely the case in the world of using these generative AI tools. The more specific that you are with a question, the more specific you're getting and accurate you're going to get an answer back. And so that's something to think about as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Just running through those examples, it made me think I'd also love to just get maybe a quick rundown from you for various activities, for various parts of your personal and professional life. There isn't one size is not fitting all with these AI solutions, to your point, ChatGPT versus Copilot, et cetera. But there are definitely sweet spots. And I always like mm-hmm. to hear from folks that are really immersing them in all the mm-hmm. people that you're talking to. What do you in different areas?
I'll throw out some names.
What's the Avengers look like here?
I got to tell you that probably the space in my first, and I think this is somewhat of a self-selecting topic, because I was talking to people who are in sales and marketing, and marketing is the place where the acceleration is absolutely happening first. People are figuring out now what it means to apply it to sales, and I can talk about that for a moment. But in the world of marketing, every time I talk to a marketer, they throw out a different tool. Like, oh, have you heard of this? No, I haven't. Tell me about it. Like, oh, this one's really cool. You got to dig into it. So some names that I'm hearing. HeyGen, I'm hearing all the time. Right? HeyGen for creating video content. Right? If you're not a video content creator and you want to get some quick projects up and going, or if you are an experienced marketer that doesn't necessarily have the budget, HeyGen is the place to be. I'm a little nervous as I say that, because my sister is a video producer for every time I bring up AI and I try to point her to HeyGen, I think I could feel her reach through the phone and smack me across the face. But it's there, and I hear HeyGen all the time. The other one that I'm hearing is Descript, which is a lot like Riverside. So this is for creating podcasts. Riverside is a tool that I use in my own podcasts, and if you don't mind me saying it, we're using it right now. Yep. We're using it right now. I've been a Riverside fan for years. They've up-leveled the tool. They've put all these great AI tools in there that make editing super easy and make improving voices just a click of the button. Riverside is also really good at live streaming podcasts. Descript is more down the path of if you want to create a podcast script from scratch and have kind of the full AI experience beginning to end of creating a podcast. They're a bit more tuned towards that direction. So I'm hearing HeyGen, I'm hearing Descript, I'm hearing Riverside. I'm also hearing about Guide, Guidde, for creating documentation. So the whole world of creating any type of documentation. So not just pure kind of hardcore product documentation, but if you're in the world of delivering projects to clients and you need to document what you've created for your client, Guide is a fantastic tool. Let's see. Another one that I've heard a lot about is Chat PRD. So if you're creating requirements for a software project, but you're creating requirements for anything, right? You know, again, if you're in the consulting world and you're doing a project that might be technology oriented, and maybe it's hammers and nails oriented, right? Chat PRD is a great way of creating requirements. So those are some of the names that I'm hearing over and over and over again. So I thought I'd just throw them out there. If you give me a moment to think a little bit more, I might come up with one or two others. Oh, here's a really cool one that I just interviewed the chief revenue officer of the company. It's a company called Signals, Signals, and their website is getsignals.ai. And they have a whole different approach to agentic AI. I can never say this word, anthropomorphize, blah, blah. Me. This is why I have AI sidekicks next to me. They humanize the whole AI experience to the point where you're actually hiring a cloud employee as opposed to buying agentic AI software. That's a cool, different take on it. And I went and played around with the demo on their website, and I was absolutely amazed. Yeah. It's like you're talking to a colleague on your team, somebody with a very narrow profile of expertise, right? You're not going to talk about, the Niners this past weekend squeaking out a win, but you're gonna talk about the topic on hand with a very human-like person. So there's another one, Signals.
Getsignals.ai. That's fast. Yeah, I know I put you a little bit on the spot there, but there you go. You had like 8 because all these conversations you've been having on Prompt This podcast. So I want to talk a little. Yeah, I want to talk about the podcast because obviously all the things that we're talking about, it is a content generating insight, human powered insight generating engine for the things that you're doing. But you're talking to all these folks and distilling all of this real time knowledge for folks. So talk to me about the podcast, what folks would expect on it, where we can find it, etc.
Sure. Well, maybe a little background on me, a little fun fact that not many people know. But in high school, my high school in Sacramento, California, had one of the largest radio stations, largest by wattage. We were a 1,000-watt radio station, one of the largest in the United States of a student-run, high school student-run radio station. And so I spent 4 years on the air as a DJ, learning how to do this to a degree. And then I was, frankly, there's a whole point in time where I was also, I'm going to get into the broadcasting world. And then I learned how much they make. I said, I'm going to go do something else, right? Because this is a fun thing to do. The glory may be in your face being a bit more recognizable, your voice a little bit more recognizable, but you're not going to make a lot of money at this. And that's what I learned back then. So I got into that space. There's always a skill that's kind of in the background. So in everything I've done my career wise, the marketing team has always said, "Oh, put Clint out front, right? He can talk to the audience well," even to the point where that was kind of a little bit of the genesis of me becoming CMO at SugarCRM. So in there, when we got to this point of what's next in my life after Sugar had a good exit, selling the company to private equity, stuck around for several more years afterwards because it was my baby and I wanted to make sure it landed in the right way. Mm-hmm. I was thinking to myself, what do I do next? And here we are. We're in the podcast world, and I'm busy creating content and thinking about how I grow my audience and working with my co-host on the guest schedule and all the pieces in there, and frankly loving it, loving the conversations, loving the background editing, loving every aspect of producing a podcast.
That's awesome. And available on all your typical podcast sources?
So we're today, we just launched 3 weeks ago. In fact, we've got the trailer, 2 episodes, and today we dropped our 3rd episode. So that's how new we are. And so we're very excited for anybody and everybody to click through and give us a listen.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button. Tell your friends, all that sort of thing. So we're just getting started, but we're very pleased with the initial traction. You know, I've been asking ChatGPT how we're doing and giving it all the metrics, and it comes back with, you've got a really strong start. You're one of the top 20% new business podcasts out there. Like, okay. If this is a hallucination, I'm okay with this hallucination right now.
There you go. All right. You're on our, I got to keep an eye out for you out there on the business podcast landscape. Because,
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and www.promptthis.ai.
Promptthis.ai. And these are business leaders from sort of across the spectrum,
Yeah.
Sales and marketing focus. What could we?
Yeah, we're specifically targeting what I might call the early to late majority, right? So people who know they need to be doing something with AI, but they just haven't figured out where to get started yet. So all of our interviews are really targeted on, how do you get started? What's the value of getting started? How do you sift through the hype to get to the actual real meat that's out there? So we're very focused on making this an easy on-ramp for business leaders who are ready to get started with AI but don't know where that first step should be.
Yeah. So check it out. Prompt This podcast. Gosh, I could talk on and on with you, Clint. This has been so good. I could listen to that radio voice and all of these insights. But I'll let you go. You got a lot, I know, else going on across all of your endeavors. So thank you so much thank you for bringing us SugarCRM, first of all, and all the insights and all the support along the way in doing all that. And thank you for coming on the podcast today and sharing your thoughts and giving us a look down the road. And you're doing the Lord's work. This is great.
Well, thank you, Clark. It's I got to tell you, from my point of view, having started my career at the beginning of the internet to now, this is as exciting, if not more, than 1995 when the internet was just getting going.
I'll tell you, I feel the same way. I've been lucky enough that, I kind of lived through a lot of technology waves. When everything went client server, when everything went to the cloud. Yeah, I always think, I've gotten more bites at the apple than a guy probably deserves. But there's always another wave. And this one, I think, is as big as any of them.
It's as big as any. Let me leave you with a last thought.
Please.
Is AI as big as the internet or as big as electricity? Think about that one. One of my guests brought that up. I thought that was such a darn good question to ask.
I'm just going to leave that there. I can't do any better than that to end on. So think about it, gang. Comment below. Which is it? What is it? Is it something else? Clint, thank you so much for your time, your insight, taking time with us on the podcast today. It's been a real treat.
You have a great day.
All right. Take care. Bye.